chapter 2 it is, verse 11 and 12. It mentions the first metal ever mentioned in the Bible is gold, and it says it's good. Abraham used it. Moses used it. The kings of the nations have used it. Mr. Fromm said to me back a number of years ago, he said, "Chaplain, there's only one way that you're going to spare your assets." Now, folks, I do not sell gold and silver. I will not recommend a dealer to you. They're all out there. You'll find them on every street, on many street corners. I am not saying this to sell you a product, because you couldn't buy it from me if you had to, but I hope you will buy it from somebody reputable, because you've got to have it. Same thing Abraham and Moses and kings have used. And Mr. Fromm said to me one day when I was utterly at my wit's end, and I said, "Ken, how can I possibly spare my family heartache? How can I save my dinner table?" And he said to me, he said, "Chaplain, the currency of the elite is gold and silver." And he said it is the only thing that will maintain its value when paper becomes worthless. The dollar will be dead by the end of 2012. I did not say non-existent. I said dead. Why? It can be printed. That's the only difference in gold and silver and the paper dollar. It can be printed. 3 years ago, I begged. I pleaded. I went on radio shows all across America. I was on George Norrie, Coast to Coast. I was on Alex Jones. I was on Dr. Stan Monteith. I was on many radio shows all across this nation. And I begged them. I said, "Please go out and buy every piece of gold you can get your hands on." At that time, you could buy gold for $600 an ounce. I said, it is the only thing whereby you are going to be able to maintain your purchasing power. Now, let's do some arithmetic. 3 times 600, which you could have bought it for at the time that Mr. Fromm told me that this is the currency of the elite. He said, "Chaplain, nothing's going to happen to that." Now, oh yeah, it may go down a little bit, and it may go back up a little bit, and you'll get scared when it goes down. Don't let it bother you. That's all a process of what's happening out there. Now, let's do some math. 3 times 6 is 18. $1,800 in 3 years' time, your gold purchases have increased. What has happened to your paper? Now, come on, be honest with me. All of those paper accounts, even your bank account, you're getting any interest? Quite interesting. I have to bring up a prop here. I had a very interesting letter sent to me just recently. They sent it to our fulfillment house out in Kansas, and it says, "Dear Reverend Williams, I do want to thank you for sharing your faith," but he said also for sharing what's going on. "Because of your information, I have experienced some gains on the purchases I made in preparations for the future." He says, "Please accept the enclosed," and what did he enclose? A $1 ounce gold coin. He said, "Please accept this as my appreciation for the information you gave me." Now, the other day, that was worth $1,800, that 1 ounce gold coin. And he said, "Accept it as my appreciation." And he puts a scripture at the bottom, 1 Timothy 5:18. "The laborer is worthy of his hire." And he said, I want to send you this out of appreciation for making me a small fortune." He must have invested very heavily in gold. And when he did, he now is 3 times 6, $1,800 an ounce. Where's it going? I'll tell you. Well, I know you're a little afraid at times when you see it go down, aren't you? But don't be afraid at all. Watch where it's going. Gold is going to $3,000 an ounce plus. Now, I'm very conservative there. I know some people have said much, much higher. it will go to $3,000 an ounce. You're going to see silver go to $50 to $75 an ounce, and you're going to see it because they will back the new world currency. How do I know this? You remember at the beginning of this presentation, I said I would try to inform you as to what the elite have told me so that you can spare your dinner table, so that you can live a very normal life through the new world order program that already is planned and is in store for you, and certain timelines that they have by the end of 2012. You do not have to lose sleep at night. You do not need to look behind bushes everywhere you go. Listen to what is said in this DVD, what the elite have told me. You can spare yourself heartache. And if you will just take a few precautionary measures, there is no reason whatsoever for you to have to suffer through these times that are coming up. There will be a new currency. The new currency, I have been told, will be backed by gold and silver. In order for the World Bank, the IMF, the New World Order, to have a new currency, they must take gold to $3,000 an ounce in order to be able to back it by gold, because of the amount of gold that's on the face of the earth. Now, if you want to save yourself a lot of heartache, you know where your paper's going. Watch out. No matter what it may be, if it's written on a piece of paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. Had quite an experience here a few weeks ago. It so happened that the family and I went to the state of Oregon. We have a friend there who owns a very large wheat farm. In fact, I think he has about 3,000 acres of wheat, plus greenhouses, plus many other groves of every kind, from apples to pears to every kind imaginable. And while there, I just wanted to be out away from everything. I just wanted to get away for a while, and I really didn't care that anybody knew I was there. But I guess the word got around, and one night I was standing just outside the house, right near the entrance to the farm driveway, and one of their big tandem tractor trailers, 18-wheeler, I saw him pull out from the dock. They were coming in and out of the farm on a regular basis every numbers of times per day, and I didn't pay too much attention to it, but I was standing outside. It was a beautiful starry night, and the moon was shining, and it was nighttime. I didn't think anybody would see me standing out there beside the road just watching all the beauty of the skies with no city around, no city lights. And this big 18-wheeler started down the road, and as he did, he got right to where the place that I was staying was on the farm, and he stopped his truck. And I thought, well, this ought to be interesting. I'll watch this truck driver make an inspection before he gets out on the road. And in a moment or two, he walked around the truck, didn't say a word to me. He walked up to me, gave me a great big bear hug. I mean, I thought he was almost going to break some things apart. And he said, "Chaplain, I hope I'm not invading on your privacy." He said, "Please forgive me." He said, "I heard you were here. I've heard you on radio talk shows." He said, "You've always told me everything right." He said, "You told me what the elite were going to do ahead of time." He said, "You told me a few years ago that I should be investing in gold and silver." He said, "Now I'm headed to Las Vegas. I'll be with my girlfriend this weekend." I hope he heard the salvation part of my message also. And he said, while I'm over there, he said, "I just want to tell you," he said, "between the two of us now, because of your advice given 3 years ago," he said, "we have over $1 million. Because he said that gold has gone up in value so much. He said, "I just wanted to stop my big 16-wheeler long enough to say thank you and appreciation for telling me what you did." Now, folks, I hope by the end of 2012 that you will say, "Lindsey Williams, I'm so glad that you told me what you did, because I spared my dinner table. I helped my family be able to live and maintain a lifestyle while my neighbors were losing their houses and they were going broke." Now, you've just begun to hear what we have to say about all of this. And I'd like to use an illustration, if I can, a simple pencil and a dollar bill. let's say that you want to buy a pencil, and there's only $1 available to buy that pencil with. So the store is going to sell you that pencil for that dollar. Now, you have the ability to print 2 of these dollars, as the printing presses of the Federal Reserve are doing right now. So now you go back to the store and you'd say, I'd like to buy a pencil. And he says, well, they just printed some more of them, so now it takes 2 of these to buy one of these. Now, that's what is known as inflation. That's what's going to happen between now and the end of 2012. The Federal Reserve has turned up the printing presses. Now, there is a solution. To each of the items that I'm going to give you, I will also give a solution. The solution of money? You must get into something tangible that can spare your house the heartache and the suffering that will be the result of the elite's control. Now remember, the name of the game is control. They really don't want to own everything, they just want to control everything. They want you to fail to pay your house mortgage, so in turn that they can turn around and rent it back to you after the New World Order has diminished the currency and issued their new currency. So let's go then to a second point. As I said, I would take these one at a time. The next one is debt. I plead with you, don't get involved. It's a trap. Rodney, I'm going to have to lean on you a little bit here. Debt's a trap. I've been told, even by the elite, that they wish to put the world in so much debt that every country, every state, every city, every individual, every corporation will be so much in debt before they allow a total collapse that they can basically own everything. This is their end goal. So tell us a little bit about the debt trap.
Well, let me begin back in 1819. A gentleman named Nathaniel Rothschild was addressing the British Parliament, and he said, I care not what figurehead sits on the throne of England. The man who controls England's debt controls England, and I control that debt. Now let's move ahead to 1971. When President Nixon took us off the gold standard, what was the standard that we took up after the gold standard? We took up the debt standard, following the path of those nations from the east. Once again, that economic climate moves from east to west. The European debt situation came to us. So it put us on the debt standard. Since then, many of us have developed systems for our finances, for our family's finances and things. And unfortunately, we have adopted that debt standard right through our daily lives, incorporating what I refer to as the monthly payment system. You know, we no longer work off of a profit system for our families where we can turn what we have into more to benefit us. We now look and say, well, we have X number of dollars left, we can afford another monthly payment for whatever it might be. And that philosophy has trickled down through our government to our families and has all but ruined our financial future as we look at it, because debtors are controlled by debtors are controlled by the creditors. You know, the man who controls the debt controls the nation or the family.
It scares me to think of what people don't know. I know that sounds rather strange, but it frightens me to think of what people do not know. And something I noticed, I mentioned earlier in the DVD presentation that I did not do a single radio show for about 3 months because I was scared. With what I saw and what I heard, it frightened me to no end. I learned a number of months ago that there is major discord and disagreement amongst the elite right now. Now, I go back to the Bible also for this, because in the book of Daniel, you remember that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, of Babylon. He had a dream, and he saw a horrifying looking image. Head of gold, breast of silver, but all the way down to the feet. And the feet of all